It's time for another Wild Time to let you know what we've been up to and get you caught up on things. I know it's been a while since we've released our breakdown video, but a lot's been going on. Just briefly before we get going, I just want to say that my younger brother has passed away, and so enough said about that for now, but that's part of why we haven't been as active as we'd like to be. But we do want to thank you for all of the overwhelmingly kind comments as a result of our breakdown and all the concern and everything. It's just been a delight.
The response was great. There's tons of comments. We've been doing our best to try to respond to all of them, but just so many positive, caring comments that we really do appreciate.
Yeah, there really are so many of you out there that are just really great and warm and caring, and it's very refreshing. It really is, and I think that we like to concentrate on that because we believe that there's a lot of good in the world. There really is, and it doesn't get reported often enough, but we really want to let you know that we just really appreciate your just warm and caring and kind concern.
And the truck has ran great after the breakdown. So
yeah, it's been going wonderfully, so that's a good plus. But we'll just go ahead and let you know what else we've been up to.
Yeah. So once the truck was repaired, we continued traveling on into Idaho, and we stopped at the Twin Falls Jerome KOA in the Twin Falls area. And that was a pretty nice park. It was a little small.
Yeah, it was small, but they were very clean. I was trying not to let the unlevel sites kind of dictate the whole experience for me. That it took a little bit to get level, and we did look around at other sites, and unfortunately anything that looked good, there were already rigs in them, but overall it was a good park. It was very clean.
Yeah,
and
one
the showers
of the
were
best
good,
showers that I've ever seen in a park, KOA or otherwise. Really, really nice showers. And they have
and we were due for one after the breakdown.
And they have in the summertime there, they do have a little pond where they rent pedal boats, and you can go around in the pond, so I'm sure that's nice in the summer. Unfortunately, when we were there, it's already closed for the season, but
it's a good staging area for some of the surrounding. Yeah, it was kind of a good area
to see the area. One of the things that we did see while we were in the area is Shoshone Falls. That was really beautiful. Falls right in the Snake River Canyon there.
And they make some kind of comparison to Niagara with that, don't they?
Call it the Little Niagara or something, or the Niagara of the West or something like that.
Yeah, so we enjoyed that. That was kind of neat.
That was
Talked
nice.
to some people there and made some contacts and friends, and that was nice. And then we went over to the bridge.
The bridge, yeah, the Perrine Bridge is a huge expansion bridge that goes right into Twin Falls.
Goes over the Snake River.
Over the Snake River. It's one of the only places, I guess, that allows base jumping all year round with no permit. So we were fortunate enough to see some base jumpers there, so that was kind of cool. Yeah,
I was going to jump, but I decided not to. It was primarily because I didn't have a chute.
Yeah, exactly. And from the bridge, you can actually look up the canyon and see the ramp where Evel Knievel attempted to jump across the canyon in 1974, I believe.
Somewhere there.
Had some kind of rocket motorcycle thing that he tried to jump with, and unfortunately was unsuccessful, and him and the contraption landed at the bottom of the river. Fortunately not in the river, but he survived, and eventually in 2016 somebody did actually complete that jump, so that was kind of a little bit of stuntman history, I guess.
Yeah, so I mean, we didn't spend a whole lot of time in the area, but what we saw, we enjoyed very much.
Yeah, the canyon is just beautiful.
So next we continued on into Utah, and we took Interstate 15, and our objective was to get to the Cabela's for the night in Lehi. And when we got there, it was a little bit of a surprise to us because an extremely large lot that we stayed in before which had a dump station, with corrals for horses, kennels for dogs, water available,
water, yeah.
and a welcoming area for RVs. It was designated for that. Was actually all signed off, and there were notices that you will be towed if you're in that area, and that's because Cabela's sold that lot off.
Yeah.
And then as we went into the other lots, there's one out front and one on the other opposite side of the building, we noticed signs all over the place that said no overnight parking. Well, we were actually there at a time that we really wanted to stop for the night.
Yeah, and unfortunately we didn't have a plan B for this one.
Not yet. So we were concerned. I went inside and I spoke with the manager, and I just asked, I noticed the signs, and I don't want to do anything, that we're not supposed to do. And he goes, "Oh no, you can stay out there. There's absolutely no problem." And he showed us that we could, stay deep out front or off to the side. And the side looked a little bit unlevel, so we chose to just be out along the outer edge of the property out front, and it worked out pretty good. We ended up having a decent night's sleep there.
So our lessons learned there was, even if you dry camped at a place before and they had a huge RV parking lot available, call ahead and make sure that they haven't sold it or that it is still available for RV parking. And also, if you get there and there's signs that say overnight parking, it doesn't hurt to ask. Sometimes they just put those signs there as a way to be able to
control it a little bit
if they have people abusing the privilege, and they are fine with you staying there.
Yeah,
so
it's probably a legal thing too, that they just have that posted just in case, and then they're free to make exceptions.
Yeah.
And so like Susan said, probably gives them a little more control of the situation.
So, definitely it doesn't hurt to ask. I mean, if they say no, then you're in the same situation that you were, but if they say yes, then you may be able to just go ahead and stay there. So that worked out, and from there, our next stop, we continued on to Cedar City, stayed in another KOA there. This KOA was a little bit different than most of the KOAs that we've stayed at. It's actually located on Main Street in Cedar City.
And that's not as, I guess, intrusive as it sounds, but it was their main street through Cedar City. One thing to mention is that there is a deep culvert that runs the length of that street, and some of the savvy employees there will alert you on the phone before arriving that is there, and that you want to take it slow and on an angle. It really wasn't that bad. We didn't ground out or anything like that, but it is certainly something that you want to pay attention to, not only at the KOA, but throughout the town as you're going into businesses, their parking lots and stuff like that. It is a rather significant culvert, so you want to be careful with that in the Cedar City area there.
Yeah, we had a nice pull-through site there. It was level, and we thought really going to be great until we unhitched the RV there. And our new Anderson hitch, they had added a bright red plastic attachment to it.
Some kind of guide or whatever.
To be able to see
I don't need it,
better.
and it doesn't even.
Not interferes
it's cosmetic,
with the function,
essentially.
But it snapped, made a huge pop snap sound. Actually, startled me.
Yeah, we were startled because we were already kind of on edge from the breakdown and stuff. You know how it is when something happens like that. You're a little more leery or wary about what's going on. And so what basically happened is it just caught, the plastic caught on the ball as it lifted off the ball. The truck kind of shifted, and the ball probably just caught the very outer edge, and the front part of the plastic piece snapped off, and it made a very loud noise and then ricocheted across the truck. So our thought was, the hitch broke or something. It wasn't a scratch on the hitch in any way. This did not affect the performance or the overall integrity of it in any way, shape, or form. It was just a piece of plastic that's there. I suppose that it's more as a guide for
just
people.
A visual to be able to see that bright red and know where you're backing up into. I guess.
It doesn't really help me any, and so I mean, I've used it for a couple years without that on there, but when they came out with it, I was able to get one, so I just put it on, and the company did send us one immediately. We gave them an address where we could pick it up, and they shipped it out immediately. I didn't even have to do. I did just take a picture and send it to them to make sure that they didn't end up asking for that, and just for the sake of time and connection and all that, I just went ahead and sent off a photo from my cell phone, email, and away it went, and I got a reply right away saying that there's one on its way. So we've got that, and
turned out fine, but it was a little scary. So and so once we were in Cedar City, we had to make a decision, because since we had been delayed by the breakdown, our plans to continue on exploring southern Utah and a little bit of northern Arizona area kind of changed because the weather had shifted, unfortunately.
Yeah, we got a little bit behind schedule that way, and the weather ended up being pretty significant. There were high winds. We actually started experiencing that up in Lehigh. We had a fairly significant thunderstorm and high winds that night, and as we checked on weather situation stuff, a lot of the area that we were going into was going to be 8,000 feet up, and so those roads were getting hit by wintry mix type storms, or at least significant weather, stuff that we just didn't feel comfortable going into for safety, but even to enjoy. So we had to make some decisions.
So rather than going east around the Grand Canyon the way we had planned, we ended up going west and going back over to the Laughlin, Nevada area.
Yeah, you got to take one way or the other. The Grand Canyon's in your way as you're coming south down that way and heading towards Arizona. There's a big canyon in the way, and so if you go to the east, we would have been continued on in some of that weather for some time, and so we ended up deciding to go west, and that way takes you on Interstate 15 until we got to Vegas. But along that way, when you leave Utah, you actually go into a little portion of Arizona. What is it, like 20?
It's like 25, maybe 30 miles.
Yeah, something like that.
The tip of Arizona.
And the Virgin River goes through there, and it kind of winds itself back and forth under the highway there, the interstate, and it is just really pretty. I mean, it's there's nothing out there. I mean, it's just completely barren, but lots of rock formations, mountains, and it's just really scenic. We enjoyed that quite a bit. We have been through that area before, but it's always nice to go through there.
It's a really pretty drive through there for sure.
So from there, we ended up going into the Laughlin area, and we went to a resort over there, the Avi Resort, that we've stayed at several times. We've always had good experiences there. I mean, it's not the most lush place. I mean, it is in the desert, but they do. It is kind of an oasis. I mean, they do have a large pool and a beach on the Colorado there, and it is in close proximity to Bullhead City and Laughlin as well. So there's stuff to do there. But for the most part, this was just a place for us to veg for a few days. We really just wanted to unwind. And we ended up using some of the time to edit the breakdown video and to get that posted. We really wanted to get that up. It had been a while since we'd made a video. And then we went to the library there in town to upload it. And
because of course the RV park Wi-Fi was not the greatest. So we did go to the library. And one thing about libraries, a lot of times they will have good Wi-Fi connections, but you want to be sure to check their hours, especially in the smaller towns.
Yeah, we've run into that situation quite a few times where we would actually go to a library that was in a fairly significantly large town, and so we thought, they're going to have great services there, and they had adequate ones. We tried their Wi-Fi and didn't work out, but the point here is that they had a note on the door in the middle of the week just saying that they had a meeting and they decided to close down, so they closed the entire library to have the meeting. So these types of things where these smaller libraries are lesser staffed.
Yeah, that was the case in Laughlin as well. The day we were there, fortunately, they were open, but they had a sign saying the following day that they would be closed for some kind of city-wide meeting or something. So,
and I think the day we were there, they were only open from 1 to 5, right?
Yeah. Right.
But they had good internet there, and we were able to get the video uploaded. And so for the most part, that's basically what we did, was just edit video and walk a lot.
Walk and just try to calm our nerves. It was just definitely a bit of a different trip than we've normally had. We've been really fortunate to have event-free, negative events not happening. Yeah. So this one was just a little bit different, so we just wanted a few days to just kind of recover a little bit.
Yeah, and it all worked out.
Once we kind of recovered in Laughlin, we continued on down 95 through Havasu, Parker, and Quartzsite, all those areas, and eventually into the valley in the Phoenix area. Unfortunately, once we arrived there and were setting up in the resort that we were going to be staying at for a little while, we noticed that a window on the RV was completely gone.
Yeah, I have a understanding of what happened on the road there. It was outside of our control. Something hit us, and so we're gonna look into getting that fixed very soon. It's missing. I had to cover it for now, and we're trying to get that done, so we have to kind of stick around and hope that works out well. And we want to use the weather here to get some videos going. We're really excited. We made quite a large list of the videos that we have lined up, and I'm looking forward to it. I know you are. And we're going to spend as much time working on those as possible. And speaking of work, we also have to do some work. So we're going to pick up some gigs here, and then hopefully we'll move on pretty soon. Yeah,
we'd really like to spend some time on the Central California coast. So we're looking into some other opportunities over there to spend some time there, because they have good weather also. Most of the time. So that would be great. But just kind of another lesson that we learned, adding the window on top of everything else that happened on our recent trip, is to just don't get overwhelmed. Try not to pile them up and pile them on and just think that everything is going wrong. Just take one day at a time, and things will work themselves out, and you gotta get through it. But
you gotta let it go. Let it go. Hey, I should write a song. That could be famous. But anyway, you do have to not collect all those things. You just gotta kind of let them go once they're taken care of, and move on, because it can pile up on you, and that's just life. So anything else you can think of that we need to say?
Nope, just please comment, share, subscribe. Thanks for watching.